Hey there, beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to post the June Solstice Ascension update. It's been quite a weekend, very full, very deep on inner feeling wise. And I sat down here to record, and just as I sat down, I noticed these first blueberries of the season, and they were just here because I looked anywhere else, but they were right there where I decided to record the video. So what a beautiful message for today. I want to welcome you with this new energy, and I really firstly want to ask you, how did you feel it yourself? How was your experience? I shared yesterday on my Facebook page about the awareness that came through the solstice, because it was a very, very strong energy. So the most things that really were coming up were dealing with the embracing of our human and divine self. So I wrote this post about that, and I want to go deeper into this right now. I want to share some exclusive updates and realizations that were coming through, because I want to share about this moving on, moving further, on our path. Because a lot of times when we either resist or control something, or we feel we have been just blocking something from our experience, and then all of a sudden we have this realization, and we feel sometimes, is it a past belief, or whether we've done something wrong, or we didn't make the right choice. But this is not really the case. It's not always a pattern. It's not always that you have beliefs, or that you're still clearing the old. Because I told you, this is a while ago, this perspective came that as long as we have this, okay, we're clearing, it's like a constant journey of clearing. So when we're in this new blank slate experience, we're just learning to ground and stabilize our human experience that is different in nature now, because we live this awakened, ascended self. But we're still testing the human experience. We're still walking in very gentle and fragile grounds, and we got to be very humble with it. Nobody knows all the answers. So what came through was that it's not always a pattern or a belief. It's just that, sometimes we hold a certain energy which is necessary for us at that pivotal point of the journey. But then, the next chapter of our life is about to unfold, and all of a sudden we start feeling maybe feelings of loneliness, of isolation, of resistance, of, boredom even. Sometimes we just get bored with things. Maybe we feel very successful in life, but it just feels boring. It just feels like it no longer brings us the excitement. And the new is always about excitement. It needs to be blissful. That is what the fifth dimensional frequency is all about. It's about that joy, the feeling of bliss, that it's a constant. You can always hold it. So sometimes when we don't yet embrace the next step, and we have those feelings of, stagnation even sometimes, it's not that we were doing something wrong before when we maybe were blocking something from our experience. What this means is just that possibly because the new chapter wants to come through so strongly, all of a sudden we feel those feelings like loneliness on a certain part, because it's something just outserved us. And it's not always an old pattern. We got to be really careful with those things, because a lot of times we like to categorize everything as a pattern. Oh, I have these beliefs, I have these patterns. But it's just a natural pivotal point of the journey. You come to a certain point, then another, life mystery begins to unfold, and you got to be ready, and you got to be prepared, and you got to listen to your heart. Because when the messages will start coming in, they will start coming in. And just recently I experienced something like this myself. And, the experience kind of reminded me of that story, when the man was drowning and he was asking God for help. And there were all these boats coming and people trying to rescue him. And he said, no, I'm waiting for God to help me, for God to save me. And God never came, so he drowned. So sometimes we're waiting for something because our controlled part of us is telling us it's got to happen this way. And, an opportunity comes and you might say, no, because I'm waiting for that thing. And that thing is already there and you're just not noticing, because we're too stuck in what we think it's going to be and how it's going to be. It's okay to be really discerning in what we want. That's really important. That doesn't mean we deny our dreams. We always nourish them. We always support them. We always want them to flourish and to thrive. But the thing is that, this is not the same as settling for less. This is just noticing when something comes. It just appears maybe different, because recently, all of a sudden, I was guided to watch the movie called Pride and Prejudice again, and I was asking myself, why was all of a sudden, I watched it like 2 times before, but why I wanted to see it again with my mother, because she's never seen it. And I kept asking myself, and there was a message, because always when something guides you, there's a message there, and the message was, sometimes we make these assumptions. They're not really of the old. We just sometimes think it needs to come a certain way because we have like this perspective, and this is our mental part that sometimes still plays a role, which is fine. We just got to know the difference. We got to discern, you know, between what is really right and what just we think is right, you know, and we place these labels and say, you know, this is probably not that, so I'm waiting for that thing to come. And you're waiting for somebody to rescue you or save you or come to you via spaceship, you know, and sometimes we're not really grounded in that experience. So in the energy of the solstice, or the light of the solstice, what really came through is that the key for our new ascended realities are human reality. So it's to be really grounded in what we perceive as humans, which is holding our ground, our anchor here in the new. So first of all, of course, we got to know what that is for us. That's the first step. The second is to hold that energy, and the third one is to allow the experiences then to come in to bring us that energy, because sometimes we want to be so divine in our experience that we just want to push everything else aside. This is the vertical, you know, the divine self-connection. But I've shared this many, many times before. We're also horizontal beings. We have these connections and relationships, and sometimes they bring us the uncomfortable parts. You know, it's easy to be alone. Of course, you do everything your way. And that doesn't mean that you need to compromise. It just means you need to know how to merge. Because the place of unity consciousness is not about compromises. It's a place where duality through opposites doesn't exist, you know, through duality anymore. It exists through merging. And that's why so many beloved messages were coming through, because we got to know how to do that inner beloved merge first before we really live relationships based on the beloved energy, which is that true love frequency. It's that frequency of melding together instead of, you know, fighting of the opposites. You know, it's the opposites that actually compose one whole integral self, the yin and yang essence. And remember, when I was sharing about the integration of the yin and yang taking place, I wasn't just talking about the divine feminine, divine masculine. This also means heaven and earth. So merging your divine experience, the vertical with the horizontal, your human experience. So because we want to be so divine, sometimes we say, no, I don't want this to be part of my experience. But what if that experience exactly holds the key to the next step? So avoiding it and avoiding making choices will bring us to just further stagnation. And sometimes we just got to know the difference, which I noticed myself, between, you know, that real divine timing, when we're patient, when we allow the divine through divine will to lead us the way, that's the right pathway for us, you know, not going astray, but really walking that line of our higher self in the body, in the physical form and existence. But also knowing that when the time comes, it's no longer waiting for it, you know, because there's two aspects of divine timing. One is when we're patiently waiting and trusting and knowing that's all unfolding. But eventually something flourishes, and then the divine timing is that essence then, and sometimes we really have to know and recognize that too. So these are some of the awarenesses that we're coming through for the solstice energy. And like I said, it's really pivotal, it's really key that our human experience is actually unlocking the gate for our ascended self. Because you cannot bring forth your spirit if you don't bring it through into your very own personality self. This is how these aspects of you are beginning to merge, and as you know, your spirit that directs all life and creation, all form, including your soul, our soul, the group soul, and then your individualized soul, and then experiencing it through the deepest individuality aspect, which is our personality body. So these all start to meld together as one. So it's this melding process that's becoming really important. So when we push things aside, it's not really melding, it's denying the human aspect, and you just want to be vertical. Sometimes this causes us to be very ungrounded, very unfocused. Sometimes people also, you know, they engage in all forms of I can't pronounce it. Escapism, okay? Gosh, sorry. Sometimes the words just don't go out of my mouth. And I have a blue tongue, you know, from eating the blueberry, so that's funny as well. So it's really wise to know the difference, you know, the divine timing that's unfolding and the divine timing that's now. And the path that is the vertical melding with the horizontal, both as one. So our human experiences, like I said, are those that really make us humble, you know, that make us open up and be more and more intimate and vulnerable. Because a lot of us, you know, we share online, we have our own groups and what we do. But personally, that deep intimacy, and I was talking about last year, I made a video about true source intimacy. But there's very few relationships that are actually physical that can hold that level of intimacy. You know, you write emails and phone calls and all of that, and Skype and sessions, but it's all very much through awareness and, you know, giving each other guidance and supporting each other. But then there's also that beautiful aspect of intimacy when you share all of your personal self, you know. I remember my old self a lot of times because, you know, when I was so different, people couldn't understand me, so they couldn't function with me on that level. So they just drifted astray. And I remember I just got so far that I kept telling myself, well, there's nobody who can intimately know me. There's people say I love you, but they love what I share, they love what I do. They don't love me, you know, the whole personality self as well, which is all in one, the whole trio, the whole package, you know, the father, mother to child, my persona, my soul, and the spirit, running through all of that. So we got to be really knowing that this intimacy is that, you know, it's that wholeness, it's that all. And I'm looking at people when they share and comment, you know, on my page, and when they share with me, everybody kind of yearns that. We all desire that to be a part of our human experience. Not anymore in the old, you know, when the relationships are based on attachment, but the beautiful true love frequency coming through a form of true communions and, you know, being true comrades to each other, you know, divine companions through that intimacy. When we share, you know, through our personality aspect, our spirit embraced in that deepest individualization that we are. So that's important. A lot of people in the oneness movement were denying that aspect. And, you know, they want to build communities without first understanding how they are, what they serve, what's their unique purpose within that structure. Because, you know, you have ants. There's all over, you know, they're climbing on me right now as I speak. They're so devoted. They know, each of them knows their task. When you're looking at them, you know, sometimes my mom tells me when we're in the beach, oh, I'm just observing ants, and it's so fun because they're so interesting, you know, their ways and what they do, what they share. Each one has awareness of what they're doing, what their specific task is. You know, that's why they function as a whole, and they build these huge blocks, you know, you call the ant farms. And it's just, we got to know our own first individuality and uniqueness, where we belong, what we're here to do, and then we really meld all of that and those human experiences together with the rest of our camaraderie and our divine companions. Also, it's really important, like I said, to be humble into this human experience. You know, we might know knowledge that is divine, we might have divine wisdom, but it's really important now to be humble in how we've integrated in the human. Nobody has all the answers here because it's taking, you know, this ascension process, like I said, it's happening in this level, in this way for the first time, and there's some programs behind this that are deep divine principles that are trying to come through, especially those who are frontiers, for igniting that energy, that spark first, and standing on the threshold, on the verge of that experience, and then others are, you know, going into that. So it's really important to understand that nobody has all the answers because of the way it's happening, and we got to be humble in our experience. So just this weekend, I was listening to Larkma's recordings. These are two beautiful beings sharing wisdom from the Pleiades and the group collective called Larkma. And that's exactly what they shared, and it resonated deeply because what I always felt, you know, they said it's really important not to fall for those false prophets and those who say they have all the answers, they know that's how it's going to be, this is what's happening now. And remember, I've been telling you throughout my videos, you know, don't trust anybody who says this is how it's happening on Earth, this is what's happening, I know everything, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. They don't know. You know, they're trying to play this part and trying to understand it mentally, but the experience is something different. When you have an actual experience, it's something different. You know, you can dream about having a relationship and beautiful partnership. That person comes, it's going to be different. You know, there's going to be all aspects of you coming up to the surface, bubbling out, and sometimes it's scary. That's why people are afraid of true intimacy, because they really got to show all their true colors. But that's beautiful. Once we do, we really realize that we have nothing to fear anyway. We have nothing to lose. So it's really important to be humble in our human experience of this ascension process, and to know that we're just guiding each other along this path. We're just sharing. You know, that's why when people call me teacher, leader, guide, I'm not none of those things. You know, like Larkma shared the same way. They said nobody is actually a leader, nobody's actual guru or teacher, because in the new paradigm, we're each becoming that. What else is living through your higher self? It's living you, it's living through you. And, you know, that's all I can do. I can help guide people in that direction so they start living that way. But I can't guide them in their life, you know. I can guide them, show them the way to that experience, which always takes place from within through your own spirit presence and awareness of your soul. So this is what I wanted to share today. There were beautiful energies coming through. I'm so excited about all the new. I also want to share that I uploaded one more toning, Elven singing, shorter version, but it's Solstice light transmission. It's on my SoundCloud profile. You can see that on my webpage. And also in July, I'm probably going to be taking a holiday. As you know, July is usually my month. Mountains, climbing, all of that. This is something new is coming. So if you were interested in having any personal services from me, you gotta hurry up and place the order now, last week of July. And that's it for this week, I guess. I'll see if I'm getting to do something more. If not, I'll see you soon, as always. Stay connected and stay in your beautiful heart centers, because this is where we belong. This is who we are. See you soon, and so much love, wisdom, and power. Bye-bye.